So it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker today, John Wilson. John and I go way back. We first met each other back in the early 80s in this building. And back then we ran into a third fella. It was kind of a brother. We're all like brothers, named David Sunfellow. And David Sunfellow, some of you old timers may remember him. He had written a bunch of songs, and we had a little group we put together, and Deborah Huffstedler was with us, and so we did all this singing and just got to know each other. That's kind of the way our relationship started. It was great. So John is multi-talented. He's a very skilled contractor. As a matter of fact, when we renovated this building back in 1992, John was the master. He was in charge of the whole project, and it was quite a project. For 6 months, we had to close this whole building down and just meet in other locations. But John was in charge of that, so there's a little plaque over there by that door that you probably wouldn't notice unless you looked up there, but it says, John Wilson, Master Temple Builder for the Lord. But John's real claim to fame is that of being an organic farmer. He's well known in this area. He's a leader in that area, in the area of organic farming. And so without further ado, I would invite Mr. John, Farmer John, to come on up.
Greetings, beloveds, and happy Valentine's Day. Better?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to start with a little story. And my other passion is dreams. All the songs were about dreams. I've been an avid dreamer for a long time. And everybody dreams. I do believe some people it's more natural than others, but for me it's always been natural to be in that realm. And by the way, I love the quotes that Sarah put in from about gardening, and there's one about a library and a garden is all you need. In the program, look those over. Once upon a time, there was a young man from the land of Indiana. He was uncertain of the direction he should take in his life. So he set out on his journey to discover the meaning of life and his own purpose in it. He hoped to meet people with answers. And he did. And he met tricksters too. But those are stories for another time. They were only part of his answer. For as he was to discover, it was like unto a buried treasure that he must find. He would then have to dig up that treasure. Next, he would have to open the chest, see what was inside. And he discovered that he would have to reopen that box many times in his life. And he found to his delight, and sometimes his consternation, that dreams were some of the finest treasures. And they were buried inside of himself. Of course, I am that man. And these are some of my treasures. So I'll start by saying, I've had so many dreams. Now, of course, we all have what we call dream droughts, or just laziness in the morning, or the second your eye is open, it's like, poof, it's gone. But there's also a lot of dreams that stick. But it's part of what's inside of us, where the real answers are. Carl Jung said, who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens. And Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is within you. So, you have the answers and you are the answer. So what are dreams? Well, we had a wonderful quote already. Language of the gods. Now, dreams are a mystery. They're very mysterious. You can't deny that. They are sometimes odd. Who knows? You work on it and you just can't quite get it. there's a few tricks. One is to write it down or it will vanish. Like I said, like a puff of smoke. You have to write it down, and it is a little discipline there. And next, it's helpful to speak it out loud. Even if you're not with someone who will help you with interpreting it. Speaking it out loud sometimes yields a result right away. Just saying it. And of course, I'm also in a dream group, and we tease out meanings with each other, and that is really wonderful. And they're not here, or I could get them all to laugh and reveal themselves easily, and I can get at least one person to do that. I won't do it since it's only right. The others were coming, but we have a little code we say that's really funny to us. Now, dreams are personal, too. The images and symbols in your dreams are, in some cases, universal, in some cases, just yours. For example, dog. You have a dog in your dream. So, are you a person who was attacked and bitten by a dog when you were a child? Or are you a person who was raised in a dog kennel and loved dogs, or a dog whisperer? Yeah. So it's, you have a dream. That's why other people can't interpret your dreams readily for you. You have to understand your own symbols. A good example of that is I had a dream not too long ago, and the POTUS and the FLOTUS were in it. So, that's funny. I thought everybody knew what that meant until I said this not too long ago. It's President of the United States and First Lady of the United States. POTUS and FLOTUS. And at first when I had the dream... Wait, what was that?
I said it was a dream.
So... at first I thought, wow, this is an important dream. The president and the first lady are coming to talk to me about something. But it was suggested, rightly so, it was immediately apparent when Kathleen said, oh, the first family. Well, I've had a divorce, so that was clearly a dream about my first family. They're tricky. They can be funny and interesting. So, and the dream just kind of unraveled itself immediately once I knew that. One key. So, dreams are also, I claim that they are very, very important to us. Helpful sometimes, occasionally, however, perhaps just a bit of undigested pepperoni. That does happen sometimes. So, I guess you don't have to deal with that if you don't eat pepperoni.
Yeah.
Now we do have, we have a night self and a day self, as some people call it. So our night self is connected to our dreams, our spirits, our intuition, our unconsciousness or subconscious, and our superconscious. All those are the night self. Our day self is connected with, obviously, waking life, conscious mind, rational thought, and a lot of us spend a lot more time in our day self than we do in our night self, or in our day self while we're learning how to access our night self. And it's always eventful to begin to access your night self. As I forget who first called it that. I read that somewhere. Now another quote by Carl Jung: until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. I think that's a profound sentence. I think it's really important that we discover these treasures that are in us. Now, dreaming is not the only way to discover those treasures within us. Of course, it's one that's been meaningful to me. And of course, dreams can be healing, instructive, inspirational, comical, sometimes really scary, and sometimes prophetic. And as they are a hidden treasure, they can also sometimes save a life. Would you read a Bible quote?
And this one is pretty urgent. From Matthew chapter 3, verse 13 to 15. After the wise men were gone, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream. "Get up! Flee to Egypt with the child and his mother," the angel said. "Stay there until I tell you to return, because Herod is going to search for the child to kill him." That night, Joseph left for Egypt with the child and Mary, his mother, and they stayed there until Herod's death. This fulfilled what the Lord had spoken through the prophet, "I called my son out of Egypt."
Now, there are many more dreams in the Bible. The Bible is filled with dreams, and very fascinating read in itself. I did a little research on that before I did this talk. Now, for myself, I am going to share a few of my dreams and what they've meant to me. And one thing I'd like to say, though, I have brought out the dreams that were really, some of them were just really clear and easy to interpret. As I said, some are really almost, a little wild and crazy, and you just can't quite get it. But so I brought out some real easy ones that I guess I should say in retrospect are easy. But now Joseph had the life of the Savior and the fate of the world on his shoulders. I had guidance without so much pressure. I mean, the life of the Savior and the fate of the world is like, okay, mine. I got guidance to move somewhere, and this is the dream of that. Backstory is that I was living at the Fellowship Community up in Newmarket, and there was, in fact, a celebration that was going to be happening soon. So the dream is, I'm participating in a community gathering celebration of the cycles of the earth at the fall equinox, enjoying a picnic, singing, and dancing. The dream transitions to 2 tall dorm buildings where students were shooting bottle rockets at each other out of the windows. And I decided to get in my truck and head west right after that celebration in the dream. Now, in real life, what happened was I decided to act on that dream, and an opportunity had come up. So Mark Sheen and I got in a truck and headed west. And shortly after that, much of what was the fellowship community disbanded, and there was a lot of conflict represented by the bottle rockets. Now, maybe it was more important than I know. Maybe, a life was saved. Maybe I would have gotten hit by a bottle rocket in my ear or something and died. I don't know. But still, I decided to act on it, and there was no community to be in within a couple of months after that dream. So that was good to pay attention. That's another thing, paying attention. And that one was clear, move. Although sometimes you can think, move west, you can think, what's the symbology of it? Sometimes it's like, do it. Now, another theme I had, an interesting dream about, was learning about forgiveness. We've all heard how important forgiveness is in our spiritual life, and in this story, I hit a brick wall and in my ability to forgive. And this is where I connect some other dots of treasure. Dreams are linked together with intention. It's a big word. I had another time, I think I talked about that here, but intention. I had that in a dream that somebody told me about how important our intentions are. So to me, dreams, intention, meditation, and a little therapy to clear my mind, to add it into the whole thing. So this dream was the culmination of several years of all of that. me praying to learn how to forgive. I didn't feel it at all. I was like kind of not hating, but I was not forgiving in this situation. And it was a big situation. It took several years. So I was asking for, not forgiveness, but learn how to forgive. And I didn't want to carry forward karmic conditions for myself or another person, or those bad feelings. So as I said, I just asked in prayer how to forgive. Several years later, after all this work, the dream is I am driving in a car with others on the Eastern Shore, looking for a small church we knew was there, but had not been to before. And it wasn't clear who was in the car with me. There were several people, but we found the church. And upon arriving at the front door, you had to get permission to go in. There was a doorkeeper. And so the doorkeeper was a person who had like a kind of a shawl on and a big wide-brimmed hat and was sitting on the stoop looking down. So when you approached, he would look up from under his hat, and the gaze was like into your soul. You know, and he went. That was it. I got to go in. So now I go into the church, and the people with whom I had been praying and having all my issues with were there in the church. And we sat together, held hands, and then the words came out of just, the ether. It is forgiven. It is finished. Okay, I'll take a breath. Is it 12? That was big, and it was done. I mean, it wasn't just like a nice dream. It was done. There was no issue after that. The point being, sometimes things that are done in that realm are really done. Meditation, dreams, whatever it may be. If there's lingering stuff to deal with, you will know. You will find out. But in this case, it was done, complete, finished. And it wasn't a hammering out with somebody. It was in this realm. Okay, everybody wants to know about their love life. Right? I had a dream about my love life, which led to... Now, it wouldn't. I'm telling you, we wouldn't be together if I didn't have this dream. I met Kathleen one fateful day as my unconscious was becoming conscious. I, in my great wisdom, had decided never to be in a relationship again. I had titled myself a farmer monk. I did like her company as a friend, and it did stir just a little moment there, but my conscious mind, my day self was saying no, 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 no. Okay, the dream. Here's the dream. And it's called the King's Dance. So I am in an anteroom of a castle, and there's preparation for a wedding going on, and I'm dressed up and ready, the princess isn't there. The king comes in, and he's dressed in his dancing clothes because he's saying, okay, handing over, you marrying my daughter, you two are going to run the kingdom now. And so he goes off. Now I'm given an amulet that I have to go find it's a little map. I have to go find a chamber in the basement of the castle first and go through an initiation. And the king goes off to the dance. And I know even when I wake up that it's kind of about her, but I'm still resisting. Like, I don't want to do it. I can't do it. No more relationships. And the story goes on, but that's the end of the dream, the king, which I titled The King's Dance. Now, it's a longer story than I can tell now, but I heard a radio show, and it was by Judith Orloff talking about dreams, and it was coming up coming up shortly after that. And I thought, well, if we go to this thing, and it's at a yoga center where they have men's and women's dorms, and so I was like, okay, that'll be good. But we go up there to this thing. The two of us go together just to be friends, and so that after the workshop or during it or something, one evening they provide entertainment and there's musicians. And I delayed going. She was already there. And as I walked into the room where the musicians were playing, the announcer says, the next dance we're going to do is called, guess what? The King's Dance. And I'm like, my unconscious was breaking through. And of course, the rest is history. Now, okay. Now, life does move on, and we still have things to work on, right? The next dream I call Course Correction Inner Growth. We're now married, and I need some words of discipline, actually, in my life. We had been arguing more than usual, and I was allowing myself to get inflamed and, yell and all this. So, yes, it happened. I did it. I was definitely inappropriate. Now, here's the dream. And this also changed things radically and quickly for me. I'm in an office building of the prosecuting attorney in the TV show Law and Order. Now, the lawyer, played by Sam Waterston, whom I happen to really like as an actor, says to me, "You have got to treat Kathleen better." So, I changed my behavior. It was very clear and easy to understand. Did not need interpretation or a dream group, and so that was. But that was my own internal moral compass speaking to me. So I don't know if I'm going to. I think I'll be finished by 12 o'clock here, but this is I call life changes. I'm not going to give you a backstory because this came out of the blue. It shocked me and surprised me and changed my life, and I needed help to discover the meaning. Although in retrospect I could see little trails leading to this dream and this event, at the time it was not on my radar in any way. I walk up a pathway to a restaurant, and as I look around, oh wow, I am the one who made these gardens. I made the compost to put in the gardens. I grew the vegetables. I made this whole thing for this restaurant, so all this food and all these flowers and herbs could feed into the restaurant. And I go sit down and order something, and that's the end of the dream. At that time, I'd been working with, for 8 years, as a student of dream work and body work and character analysis and all kinds of things. Come in. That's what we have to say to our unconscious. By the way, that was not an accident. Come in. Was it the doorbell just rang, or was that just me? Huh?
We heard it. Yes, we heard it.
Oh, okay. I'm glad So I'm really working at this one, like, what is the meaning, trying to, again, unravel the meaning. And my mentor at that time, he's a Mexican man, so he had this little accent. He said, So, John, when do you start your compost business? No meaning of the dream. And well, look what, here we are all these years later. I've been making compost and having a farm. And it was clear only because of help in that case. And he had some other sight and vision and, to help. If I call this one a dream reminder and feeling connected and liking feeling connected. There was also a lot of sense of freedom in it, and when I say connected, I mean to the greater reality. The dream. I'm at a country estate at a well-kept old house. A nice, large front porch with a group of people sitting in chairs. I don't know who they were. And we were taking turns practicing our flying. The kind where you just kind of go off the ground. And how many people have done that, by the way? Flown. See? That feels good, doesn't it? When you wake up from that. And it was my turn to practice, so I go a little faster and a little higher than I had before. I went a mile up, and I came back down, and I'm standing there. And on the ground, when we all notice a very large spherical-shaped ball of rainbow colors and energy slowly floating to the ground. When it lands, it coalesces into a round shape, and several people come out also coalescing into human form from all this rainbow energy. And for their own amusement, they were dressed like 50s greasers, like out of Grease, the play. And they said that to me. Said, "Well, we'd like to have fun, when we come here." And t-shirts rolled up, leather jackets, the whole thing, hair full of grease. I'm like, I was kind of shocked at first, but they said, "Oh, we're having fun." When we come, we like to play around with different character types. And they were all androgynous, mostly dressed as men. So I said, "Why are you here?" to them. And they said, "Well, we like to keep our eyes on things here on the planet, and we like to keep our eyes on you too. Well, can you tell me something about the times to come?" And they said, "Everything will be all right, and we'll stay in touch. Watch for us in your dreams." So, thank you.